Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you're watching. This is Bike Walk Connecticut, and I'm your host, Steve Mitchell. And we are going to talk about something quite exciting, kind of the new evolution in the past 10 years to do with bicycling. This show's all about e-bikes. And here to talk about e-bikes is my friend and expert on e-bikes for the past 16 years. You've been involved with e-bikes is Walter Rochford.
Thank you very much.
Bike seller right down the street.
You got it.
So, when we were kids, Walter, we just go out right around the neighborhoods and we just pedaled and we rode our bikes everywhere, and kind of when the sun went down and it got dark is when we were due back at the house.
Yes.
The times have changed, and bikes still have two wheels for the most part.
Yeah.
But now in the past, since about 2010 or so, we've had this new evolution called e-bikes, and you got involved. How did you get involved with that?
I was actually brought in by the legendary Mike Wolf, who not only owned Bloomfield Bike, but at one point he owned 6 or 7 different stores. And he literally was looking to market something brand new in the state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he had me come over. I rode the bike. I came back and I said, no, this is not for me.
Yeah.
He goes, put on your business hat, go out and ride and come back again.
Yeah.
I went out and came back and I was like, this might not be for me, but it could be for my mother, my aunt, or someone, maybe someone who has injuries that just can't ride a regular bike.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history. Initially, we were frowned on by many, many, many bike shops because they thought it was cheating. But eventually, today, almost every bike shop in America has e-bikes. So it's a wonderful thing.
What percentage of sales would you say is e-bikes around the country?
Oh, well, around the country, I couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is at my shop, 65% are e-bikes. But I will say,
wow,
I'm way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
I think nationally, it's around 20%.
Well, you've gotten to be known as the e-bike shop in Connecticut.
Yeah,
You've
definitely.
been doing this since what, 2009?
2010.
2010.
Yeah, so it's basically 15 years this year.
Yeah, okay. And, but it doesn't come without its controversy because, e-bikes are in, the state legislature now talking about how to regulate these things and so on and so forth. So there's definitely some of the good, but what's the controversy about?
It's really about the safety of the batteries, number one.
Okay.
And also...
Tell us a little bit about safety of the batteries. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically what's happening now, and it happened very quickly as a result of a lot of the fires in New York City, is that they've raised the standard of batteries. There's a UL certification code, which is 2849. If you have that certification, basically they're saying you have a good battery that's probably not going to catch on fire. And it has a management system within itself to prevent those things from happening.
What's the number again? UL?
UL 2849.
That's something. Now, sometimes you can go online, like anything else these days, and you can find these bikes for very inexpensive, but they're cheap Chinese or whatever.
Yeah.
And what's the problem with them with that?
Well, a lot of them are not UL certified.
Okay.
And that's where the problem lies.
That's even allowed to come in this country?
Yes. There's a whole thing where, what's the big organization that advocates for bikes? People for Bikes?
People for Bikes, yep.
Yeah, you can learn so much by going to their website and learn actually all the litigation and everything that trying to strengthen the quality of all the e-bikes.
Right.
But there's ways that they bring them in because they fall below a certain price. They don't get the scrutiny that other large companies get, and they're selling these things for prayer, and ultimately there's problems.
Okay.
Most of the fires that have happened are not actually with e-bikes; they're more like with scooters.
Really?
And they're really inexpensive items that you can get.
Right. Now, the scooters, the bikes that we have behind us, we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, but the scooters, you have to bring a whole scooter in your place or do they have detachable batteries? Or
no, you have to bring the whole scooter in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these are, and you got to see, listen, there's a lot of, like anything else, you got your scale of quality on scooters. There's some fantastic ones, but, listen, a lot of people don't have the wherewithal to get a car. And listen, I was down in South Beach. The amount of scooters and e-bikes that are down in South Beach that people use who are waiters, waitresses, and
Yeah,
all that.
sure.
They can't afford cars.
That's how you get around, right?
And that's how they get
And where
around.
do you
It's
park?
a good thing. But
I
there's
just got
a
back
lot
from
of
Washington,
inexpensive
D.C.
stuff. Yeah.
It's a whole bike culture down there. All the legislative aides are all riding their bikes to work. In the Washington, D.C., I don't know if you all been down there lately, but there's bike lanes, there's protected bike lanes. I mean, Washington, D.C. is a whole bike culture, and same with New York City, and Boston's getting that way also. But so there's different classes in these e-bikes. There's class 1, there's class 2, and there's class 3. And
is becoming a class 4.
okay, so tell us a little bit about what to look for with those different classifications.
Okay, so this is a class 1 bike. If you look at this bike and you look at this bike, you don't really see much of a difference, except class 1 basically is a pedal assist only bike that will go up to 20 miles an hour. Class 2 is pedal assist and throttle that maxes out at 20 miles an hour. Class 3 goes up to 28 miles an hour. Now, in the state of Connecticut, basically, class 3, technically, you can't ride them on the rail trails. You can't ride them in state parks. Basically, you can ride them on the roads. Class 4, which is a new classification that's coming about because they're building these monster bikes that really shouldn't even be called bikes, but they go over 35 miles an hour.
Right.
And they are only actually allowed off-road. Wow. And a majority of the places, especially in Connecticut, well, you can't ride them there. You can't ride them in the state parks because it's a class 3 or class 4. Right. So,
yeah, no, I mean, my first experience of an e-bike was probably around 2010, 2011, and I'm coming up the hill in Southington. It was on the East Coast Greenway on-road route, and I'm going up a hill. I'm in my mid-50s, and I'm doing about 8-9 miles an hour up about a 3% grade. And there was this lady, probably in her 70s, and she's keeping up right alongside me. And I'm like, you know, my male macho was like, what am I in that bad? Is she in real? She goes, do you want to see my secret? And I'm like, okay, what's your secret? And she twists her wrist, and she had, I guess, a class 2, one of the very first one.
Yeah.
And she was able to keep up with it. And to me, that's what these things are awesome for.
Definitely.
Okay. Average age of an e-bike purchaser?
That has changed, again, dramatically over the last 10 years. Initially, my concept and Mike's concept was older individuals.
Yeah.
Then it started migrating out to unhealthy individuals.
Yeah.
Because there are people, that's why when someone says, oh, gee, it's a throttle, you're cheating. Well, I look at you, you look at me. We don't know what type of ailment we may have.
Right.
But it's a wonderful thing to get out there on your bike.
Right.
But, if you just had your knee replaced and you can't actually pedal,
right.
Well, guess what? You have a throttle.
Yeah.
You take a nice little break.
Okay.
Then you get yourself back together and you can start pedaling. So
right.
it's a good thing if it's applied the right way.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. And so what would you say is the average price? I know you're a retailer. We can't talk about any sales or anything, but what's your sweet spot in terms of range, in terms of price on these things, which I believe has come down a little bit.
Yeah, I can tell you almost exactly. Our average price on our e-bikes is about $1,750, $1,800.
Okay.
That has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
This bike here, this is a $5,000 e-bike.
Yeah.
I would have a very hard time selling this bike because you can get this beautiful bike for $1,300.
Yep.
And it does everything. You got pedal assist, you got throttle. It's light enough.
Okay.
Where you
so
can
where's
ride this without power?
Where is the throttle? And
okay, so
show us a little bit how they.
I don't know if they can zoom
in the way
in,
here, but yeah.
Okay, so operate this bike. You just push this button.
Yep.
And your screen lights up.
Yeah.
Screen kind of is the brains of the operation. Tells you how much battery life you have. Then it will tell you how far you've gone and all that stuff. But more importantly, it's going to tell you your state of being as far as assist. clearly you can see it says off. So the bike is on, but you're not getting any help. All you do is hit a plus sign, and now you're in eco mode. So you're getting a little bit of help.
Right.
Then you hit it again, you're in tour mode. Now you're getting more help.
Right.
And then by the time you have 4 different levels,
Okay.
by the time you hit turbo, you could crush Simsbury Mountain going 20 miles an hour and not even break a sweat.
But you're going to use a lot of battery. That's the trade-off with that. So,
Yes.
so if you wanted to go out on let's say a 20, 30-mile ride, what would you put it in, the eco mode?
Yeah, I would say eco and what was the second one?
Touring.
Yes, eco and tour. I tell most people, look, expect anywhere from 25
Yeah,
to 45 miles on this bike.
gotcha.
So if you're a gas guzzler, so to speak, and
Right.
you're just using the throttle and you're on turbo the whole
Right.
time, you're going to get about 25 miles.
Gotcha.
Whereas if you want to get more exercise and you back off
Right.
and you use the eco mode, then you'll get up to 45 miles.
Yep. Okay. And then, so always wear a helmet. I wore this jacket today because I'm trying to be a good league cycling instructor, which I am. And you know, motorists are looking for you. I don't care whether you're on an e-bike or a regular old bike. People who are in cars, they want to be able to see you, and that's kind of why I wore this jacket today. Be safe, be seen. The other thing we've got going on that you and I, this is totally exciting, and I was in Washington, D.C. this week talking this up to the legislatures down there, that you and I are doing the first ever e-bike seminar at Mitchell Volkswagen down in 416 Hot Meadow Street in Simsbury on May 8th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're going to do a hands-on. So if you have an e-bike or you're interested, if you're e-bike curious, so come on down on May 8th. We'll be able to sign up online. We'll probably put it on your website, which is Connecticut.bike. So go on to Connecticut.bike. There'll be more information on that, as well as Bike Walk Connecticut website. And but until then, we hope to see you on the trails. We hope to see you out there. And again, the e-bike seminar will be in Simsbury on May 8th, and then there's be another one over in Canton on May 22nd. So for now, Walter, thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
And we learned a little bit about e-bikes, and hope to see you on May 8th and learn a little bit more. Enjoy.
For over 40 years, SCM has been the voice of our town.
Bringing us together through local programming,
Education.
And live broadcasts.
SEM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community.
Ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings.
And celebrating milestones.
like our high school graduations.
But today, SEM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions.
And it's no secret, people have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SCM receives less revenue.
Even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open.
Continues to educate our youth.
And keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SCM, I've been honing my creative skills, helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive
For generations to come.
Visit our website
Or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
Counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media.
where your town
Your schools and
And your government
come together.